All right. At the weekend, we wrapped up our season, our Premier League season at least, against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, the dog track. And the first thing for me was figuring out where to watch it. I thought I was past this. Either it's on Peacock or I watch it on YouTube TV. I got the sports package for YouTube TV that was supposed to solve all my problems, right? I have it set to record Arsenal matches, and yet I go there and it's not there. And I was incredibly frustrated. Ended up watching it on the Telemundo broadcast, like apparently almost all of the country did in America, because the match was on CNBC. And of course, no one in their right mind would include that in a sports package.
Well, no, it's a business channel, so no.
Right. So, yeah, so stupid. So stupid. How could they not also have it on Peacock? Like, it's just the whole point of having all the extended NBC channels showing these matches is so you can watch all of them live. What the heck?
Yeah, I think honestly the big difference here is the addition of Peacock, because when this deal began, you could stream all of them. I mean, again, the deal with NBC began like a decade plus ago, so the nature of streaming was very different at that point. But
Yeah,
I think Peacock, because it has a lot of rights and exclusivity in terms of things are there, like certain things can and can't be on them. We've talked about that. This is really the only time of year this is going to happen, because as we said, in the final week, they try to get as many games on TV as possible. That's why Arsenal, any soccer game is on CNBC, which again, just to repeat, is a business channel. Like they do stock tips and they talk about how the market's doing and all, like that's what they're for. So kind of an odd case. I watched the first half on Telemundo. I was in California. My brother got married on Saturday, which was lovely. And, then of course I had to wake up for an 8:00 kickoff, which California time, which was a little hard to do given the way the previous night had gone. But, I was up for it. And, our high school Spanish, I think, was enough to sort of keep me abreast of what was going on, to the extent that I cared beyond, hey, we're getting a trophy after this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the only word that I needed to hear was "go." I'm not going to hold it as long as they do, but that was fun for my son, who stayed up late watching the replay with me, because it was a holiday the next day, Memorial Day in the U.S. So yeah.
Gol de Arsenal.
So yeah, it was funny noticing some of the things that Arsenal supporters brought with them into the stadium, such as a sign that read Selhurst Park Champions Section. That was fun. There was a couple fans that the camera lingered on for a very long time. Just in case you didn't get it after the first 10 seconds, they held it for another 20. But drinking from plastic water bottles that said that had the Manchester City logo on them, the crest, and the light blue background.
That's a callback. You may have noticed a Manchester City fan drinking from an Arsenal because we the past how we had quote bottled it.
Right.
Yeah. That's. Right. I mean, whatever. It's fun. I did see several people. I did see at least one guy dressed as the Premier League trophy, which was kind of fun. A lot of the
I missed that
cardboard cutout versions or the mini versions of the trophy in there as well.
I saw a lot of inflatable trophies that people were holding. Yeah.
Apparently, at least two Arsenal fans tried to sneak in as stewards. They tried to disguise themselves as if they were working for the stadium, and were properly thrown out for that. But,
thrown out, banned for life, arrested, some combination of those things.
I think they were just kicked out of the stadium. I don't think it was anything more than, because I think the sense was, all right, these are just two jokers who are trying to celebrate. Like this isn't anything weird.
Incidentally, I noticed, I don't know what made it stand out to me this most recent time, but at the Crystal Palace match, I noticed all the stewards have those bright yellow vests that they wear, right? And they each have like numbers on them, and I guess that's so like I'm guessing if there's video footage of an incident, they can identify which steward was involved or something. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it's part of the same reason that anyone has an identification number, like it helps track who's there and who's where. Yeah. I imagine those numbers it wouldn't surprise me if those numbers are tied to those people, or if it's part of identification system or something.
Yeah. So ultimately, there isn't too much to talk about with this match. I mean, we'd already won the league by that point. We racked up another win. We went 7 points clear of Manchester City by the time Aston Villa beat them, and we won here. But the lineup was probably the one thing worth talking about. So we saw Max Dowman start. That was pretty cool.
Yes, Max Dowman start. He is now officially the youngest player ever to start a Premier League game. Remember, his other appearances in the league have been off the bench. He did get a start in one of the cups, I think in the FA Cup. He also did, by the way, became the youngest player ever to win the Premier League.
Okay.
So he's 16 years old. Anyway.
Yeah. So then, before all was said and done, we saw Gabriel Jesus. He started. He scored for us. Not a bad performance from him. He had a couple really close calls before he ended up scoring right before halftime. It's not bad from him. About what we've come to expect this season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy. I mean, you think about it. First of all, this all felt a little bit swan songish for Jesus, that this was kind of going to be it for him, which I think is right. I mean, you sort of think about how he kind of transformed the club when he came in, kind of the extra level he brought. I believe it was your first season, right? 22-23, leading into the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then, of course, obviously how much he was hurt by the injury, not just the physical pain, but his career was hurt and some of the subsequent injuries he had.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that he's just not, and we saw a little bit of the good and bad. He had a few opportunities that he probably should have done better with, but ultimately he's able to get the goal, which is great to see. And, was the captain coming out for the opener to open the game. Especially during the guard of honor that we got, which especially nice because Palace's entrance is off in the corner, not one of those like right there, right in front of the, right on the sidelines, it's off the corner. So they got a nice long walk in.
I didn't actually get to see that. It was on the Telemundo. You watched live. I watched the replay. I think it may have been edited, or at least largely edited.
I think I saw that. Well, because I was like trying to scramble and figure out where the game actually was. So by the time I turned it on, it was already like a minute or two in. So I think, but I saw a replay of that. So
okay, yeah,
but yeah. This was definitely a lineup that said we have other things on our minds. Which, by the way, is the same thing for Crystal Palace, who, of course, as of today, earlier today, won the Europa Conference League. So obviously that was.
The right call on their part, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, to the extent a game doesn't really matter, this is about as close as it would have got when you get to a game that doesn't really matter in the league, especially a game containing the champions,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So at halftime, it was interesting. So the Telemundo broadcast did not have a traditional halftime show. It was just basically a recap of the contenders for goal of the year. And so seeing this, I actually did watch. I typically skip over the halftime show most of the time, unless there's something really shocking or puzzling that happened in the first half and I want to hear some analysis of it. But so I watched it, and it struck me, not only Martin Zubamendi's one goal where he kind of just like, it was volleying toward him and he just like bent over and like sent it in, that was on there. But I noticed, I forget if it was 2 or 3 of the other 6 or so contenders for goal of the year were against Arsenal. And we called those out at the time, the Szoboszlai goal. I forget what the other one was, but these were like, it makes sense, right? Like we were playing at a level, and especially at a defensive level, that inspires those kinds of moments from other teams. That's what they had to do to beat us.
Yeah, I think I took a shower during halftime, so I just
it was very early for you. And I think Tyler Adams has one of the contenders for Bournemouth, American player. So that was cool to see.
So it's a Wappingers Falls own Royce Ketchum, high school graduate Tyler Adams.
Yes.
Which you and I might be the only people connected to the show who know that reference, but.
Yeah. But yeah, whenever we see his cards in the box of the trading card store, we always grab them. So overall, though, we watched the match to be able to watch the trophy being lifted after. And I was in the position, because I was watching the replay later on, about 12 hours shifted. I was starting to watch. I skipped past a whole bunch of stuff in between, like the end of the Spurs Everton match. They came so close. Everton came so close to not letting them win it. But anyway, I skipped a bunch. And then I'm watching all this and hearing the Spanish language commentators. I'm like, wait a second, this has already happened. Why am I doing this? And I just went to YouTube and watched Arsenal's video they posted of the trophy celebration. So yeah, it was great. Really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, there was a bit of a delay in that, partly because this was Crystal Palace's final home game, and also in advance of their European final. So there was a little bit of post game stuff from them. I think the manager gave a speech. The players did a lap of honor. So there was a lot. There was some quote unquote delay, which really was Palace going through their post game, and apparently Arsenal was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead, do your thing." The players by Arsenal wore the white kits for the game. But then disappeared into the locker room. And I don't know if they went to the locker room or if they were just brought out to them. Had their champions kits, the red with the champions in gold on the back, including
26, yep.
Apparently, David Raya came out wearing his gloves, which was kind of an interesting choice.
So did Kepa. Raya and Kepa came out wearing their gloves. Tommy Setford did not. Now, I don't know if that's just a reflection of his status or if maybe the two of them coordinated to do it together and just he wasn't in on the huddle.
Yeah, a pair of Spaniards, Who else was it? The other one, Mikel Arteta came out in a shirt, which, by the way, he looks like he could still play. He looks. I know he does not look any different from the guy who lifted the FA Cup with Arsenal a decade ago. That's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, he stays in shape. It was also interesting if you notice. So they were all the team. Arteta and I didn't notice, maybe one or two of his closest assistant coaches were all wearing the red Champions 26 kits. But then when everybody, the whole extended staff joined in at the end, they were wearing the white kits. And they all had players' names and numbers on the back. And I wondered, did they just raid the supplies? Like, these are all the jerseys we didn't need for this match because they only wore one. They didn't need to change them out or whatever. These are all the spares. Because it was just all players' jerseys. It was
without seeing the numbers, they could have been some of the guys on the field too. They took it off. And so here...
Maybe. Well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, they all had Arsenal player names and numbers on them. So it was just one of those fun details. It's like, okay, well, it looked fine. It was...
But yeah, you get that moment with the trophy, thrusts it into the air. Yeah, the confetti goes off.
It was a little weird how Odegaard did the shimmy and lift, and it made sense. And the confetti cannons went off like that. That was all fun. And then every other player did their own turn with the shimmy and lift, and it was just kind of like. It was a little absurd, but whatever. They're having fun, and I don't begrudge them. But
I mean, everyone. That's kind of the thing. Once it's done, everyone gets their few minutes with the trophy, and as I understand it, Arsenal will hold on to that trophy until the end of next season. At which point, it will go shortly before the end. It'll go back to the league in advance of whoever is going to win it. I remember reading this at some point. Apparently, the league has 2 trophies, and.
So it's actually the same physical trophies get handed around. I assume that they got to keep it on display, like in a trophy closet or not closet, but like a trophy case or something that they would put it on display.
I don't remember. They might get a replica. The league might give them a replica.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, they did get a special gold version for the Invincibles, which they have since kept. I believe the Champions League trophy they would give back, but I think if you get to keep it if you win it 5 times, I think is something.
So SNL gives you a special smoking jacket if you host 5 times. The Champions League lets you keep the trophy.
if you win it 5 times, yeah. It used to be. I think it was 3 times. The first team to win the World Cup 3 times. The original Jules Rimet trophy got to keep it. I think that was Brazil, but I believe it has since. Disappeared and no one knows where it is.
But yeah, so a fun time at Selhurst Park, all things considered. I'm sure Eza was happy the way that worked out, that he was able to celebrate there. Mixed feelings possibly, but all things considered, if he had to pick any place that wasn't the Emirates, probably his second choice, I would guess.
Yeah, it was a nice. I guess it was nice to be able to celebrate it in a place. I mean, I know everyone would kind of love to rub it in Spurs' face or things like that. I can get the appeal, but I think it was nice to be in a place like Palace where the vibes were going to be good. Like everyone was going to be. And Palace fans were in a good mood too. So sure, let's applaud. What do they care?
Right.